What is up, everybody? In today's tutorial I'm going to be talking to you guys about just makeshift purge valves again. In my past video I showed you guys how to make a makeshift purge valve for your hookah. It worked for me for a couple of times, and then I kind of had to just go and make a new design. So first of all, the actual purge port that I'm going to be making is pretty much universal for caravan and KM hookahs. KM hookahs not so much though. There is a little bit of a gimmick within the purge valve anyways. I'm going to be showing you two designs. A purely grommit design, and then a just some parts that I found laying around. So if you watched my first video, you know I just put this BB within the purge cap, put a very small ball grommet. It fits perfectly into the purge housing, at least for the caravan style hookahs out there. Alright, you're gonna have to do some modifications with the KM. You know, you might have to actually, you know, put the KM purge valve like that, you know, and make sure the BB ain't gonna fall out or something like that. I don't know. So I'll just put this back in here. And this is airtight, alright, the BB doesn't fall out, anything like that. Now we're just going to test fake purge, you know. So mine isn't airtight almost, I need to spin it. Alright, there we go, perfectly airtight. You just want to fake purge if you are getting excess air when you are sucking in. Then this thing isn't either pushed in enough, or, you know, there might be a little, like, kind of like crease where you can kind of see like into the actual housing like that. You know, you don't really want that. I don't want to put this onto just my purge valve. I'd like it to have a little bit more cushion, so I get a bowl grommet and I just slide the bowl grommet over the first grommet that we put. Alright, and how this works is grommet touching grommet. Alright, so you can just fake purge. Alright, so when I suck in, there's no excess air coming in from this area, and there's no excess air coming in from where the BB sits. So this is actually a successful purge valve right here. Alright, works just like any other hookah accessory. Putting your bowl on top of your hookah, you use a grommet. Putting your downstem down to the base, you use a grommet. Putting the hose in the hose port, you use a grommet. Alright, this is literally a grommet purge valve. Alright, you just stick this on your purge, spin it on there gently, and how this works is you want the inside grommet to fit onto the actual purge port. Alright, you don't want to like slip this bowl grommet kind of on there. You need the whole thing to fit on there snugly. How you guys can check this, make sure your hookah's clean, alright? You could just put your mouth over this whole thing and blow, and if you can hear some residual kind of air coming from the port down there, then you know it's not really doing its job. Or you could just get your hose, put it up to your ear and blow, because that's where most of the air is going to be coming out of, and if you feel any kind of air blowing in your ear, then you kind of know that it's not really doing its job. Also, I put some electrical tape, like 3 or 4 wraps around the just the purge port, because the screw marks that are on the purge port mess with the suction of the grommets, and it makes it not as airtight. For like the first 2 sessions I did, this whole contraption worked, and then the grommets were getting, they would heat up, and you know, they just lose their, you know, just the quality a little bit. Nothing to fear about. So you kind of just have to use electrical tape at your disposal. But that's pretty much the only electrical tape that we're going to be using, other than this second method that I'm going to show you on how to make a purge port. This one is using a air compressor part, I would say what this is. Alright, 2 styles of threading, 2 different sizes, but The threading is pretty much the same. Alright, the spacing on the threading is all pretty much the same. But what's cool about this little air compressor part is, yes, it looks exactly like a purge port, except for this side. It's pretty much flat, but if you were to get a BB in there, it could work. Alright, and the smaller size is for the KM purge. Alright, you get it down like 1.5 to 2 of the thread marks, and then it stops. Alright, it's not jingling around or anything. And then for the actual caravan, you want to use on the bigger size. And this thing screws on a lot. Alright, I have the BB in there. 3/8 size BB for the caravan is the biggest you can go. But I was using like smaller, like pretty much smaller than you know, just airsoft pellets for this. I just wanted to see what BBs would work and what wouldn't work. Smaller ones than like airsoft pellets kind of worked for some reason, and then the 3/8 sized worked pretty good. You know, so that you can do this both ways with KM and caravan. Alright, just the KM doesn't screw on as much. It screws on like 1.5 to 2 of the thread marks, and that's about it. Alright, but since I have a KM or a caravan hookah, I'll be doing the caravan style. Take the BB out. Alright, so if you have a caravan, a large caravan hookah, what we're going to need to do is put some, some electrical tape around this point. And if it's the other way around, you're just going to want to put some electrical tape on this area if you're using a KM style hookah. Alright. Oh. Alright, there we go. Get some electrical tape here. Where's my knife? Damn. That sucks. I'm just gonna wrap it. I think like that much is good. 1 second. Alright. There we go, that's all the electrical tape that we're gonna be needing. Alright. We're just going to be wrapping this just like this. Make sure your electrical tape is pretty much flush with this end. And then you want to go in and kind of just pat that little side, that little end. Alright. And you can suck from the electrical tape just to make sure it is airtight. It's up. And then just cut off the access like so. So it is exposing this. Now if you are using a KM style hookah, you know, use electrical tape. If there is any access, just cut that off. And then what we're going to do is get this smaller grommet. Now if you are using a cam, again, you're going to have to play around with your grommets, alright? Always have really small to really big grommets laying around. We're going to put the small grommet on here. And as you can see, it has a little bit of a bell shape at the top. So it kind of suctions around the electrical tape, and that's what we want. Now we're going to see if this is airtight. We're just going to plug this hole. Airtight, no air coming from the area with the electrical tape, which is good. Then we're going to put the cap back on with the BB. Screw this down as much as we can go. Alright, it's airtight. And then again, like I showed you in the beginning of this video, we're just going to slip this grommet on as much as it can go. Alright, it gets to a point where both of these grommets kind of get to the end and it gets hard to put on. Well, you want to kind of push it a little bit past that point. You want these both to be pretty much flush with each other, I would say. There we go. That's perfect. And then what you guys can do is just make sure you just put this on your hookah, make sure this inside grommet is on the purge valve. There we go. That's what it looks like. It does look a little bit kind of, you know, jerry-rigged, but it works perfectly fine. Again, you can put your whole mouth on here, blow into the actual hookah, make sure there isn't any air loss or anything like that. But it's a cool way on how to make a homemade purge valve. This actually is nice because we're not relying on that smaller grommet now. We actually use the tube within the little air compressor part to hold the air. Alright, the BB is doing its actual job now. It's not relying on the grommet to be the piece that is airtight. So this is actually a step up from that, so it's really nice. Yeah, perfectly airtight, no loss of air. So if you have been, you know, having shitty sessions, and it's related to your purge valve, if you're legit, like original, I wouldn't say legit, your original purge valve is like scratched, and there's like crevices where the BB can't fulfill those crevices, so air is going to be getting sucked in whenever you're taking a hit. This is a really good way. This way and the double grommet way are actually probably the two best ways that I could think of. With the cam style housing, this is going to be a little bit trickier. You're going to want to get pretty much the biggest BB that will fit into the size of this. Get some calipers, measure the inside circumference of this. Go a little bit below that, whatever metric, you know, whatever metric size will fit into this, or you know, just that kind of size, whatever. 3/8 is what I used. That's not metric. I don't even fucking know what I'm talking about anymore. Come on, iPod stand. Metric or American. And you're probably going to want to get a grommet that slopes down, that's not as big as the gauge right here, this little size. And then get that bowl grommet or something that's a little bit bigger, something that will fit onto the actual purge valve for a cam. Mine came like this. This thing is a piece of shit, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. But this will work too with a cam for sure. Alright, it would just be down here. The grommet and stuff and whatnot would be down there for a cam at least. But yeah. The cool thing about this hookah is the downstem. This is like Color the Moon on there. It's pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways guys, wow, that was a long video and that was a lot of talking. Homemade purge valve. Give it a try, the double grommet. Pretty accessible. This air compressor part is a little bit harder to come by, but that's that, I would say. Anyways guys, have a nice day and keep on smoking hookah.